spent or disbursed from the Ministry of Finance. And of course, logically, you can collect, and then the issue of accountability and all of that comes into question. So as a result of that, hence the Revenue Authority was founded in 2013, and on the basis that those who collect would sit separately with a semi-autonomous status to be able to independently collect and account for what is generated for the country, innovatively too, so that aside from a revenue code that you have the flexibility of creating regulations and other bylaws that will be able to enhance revenue collection with accountability. That is why today LRA can sit and say, we've collected this or we've collected that. And as the CG said, Mrs. Tamba being the first or being very instrumental in the setup had her very instrumental role to play in setting up the institution, bringing the kind of manpower, to be able to start collecting revenue in post-war Liberia. And when Commissioner General Thomas Dona took over, like he said, and it's uncommon in Liberia for a sitting Commissioner General to come and talk about his predecessor in a way
surely.
that is not demeaning, but rather talking about building on the footsteps of his predecessor and even doing better. And that is the essence of leadership, and that is what we need in this country. So LRA, as it is now, is an institution. It's a force for good. The LRA can only get better. It can only expand, but most importantly, with the collective support of Liberians and the willingness to pay taxes. And that is one of our biggest issues right now, is to get Liberians on board to pay taxes, whether electronically or manually. We're running these two systems, and it's only but important like Liberians see it fit to be able to pay the taxes. We want to build this country, and we don't want to continue to depend on donor funding. And the way we do it is when we collectively pay our taxes.
Okay, Daniel, thank you very much. Mr. Commissioner General, let's now look into your files, your performance record. What does it state there? 2018, what did you do? How much did you achieve in 2018?
Well, so Saba, I think this conversation should be broadened, because we've done so much, and to extrapolate and say, we did this 2018.
Okay.
Obviously, we can speak to the numbers.
Okay, no problem.
From the number standpoint, we can speak to the number, and like I indicated, since 2018, 2017. So let's say, 2017. Let me just give you the numbers. So 2016, we had like
2018.
No, I'm just starting.
Okay.
So
2016. Yeah, surely.
You can. So 2016, it was 441.8 million. 2017, it was 451.6 million. And then we came to 2018. We went above 2017. That was when we took over. So we went to 456.0. You see the increase. Then we came down slightly to 435.6 in 2019. But then when COVID came, so obviously in the first year, we started to put in some strategy. And then in 2020, you realize that there was a major jump. We jumped to 483.9. But then during that period also, we started to innovate on a lot of things, digitizing our systems, bringing in new ideas, engaging more with the public, from the administrative side. And then you will notice that in 2021, we jumped to 579 in 2021. And those were the COVID period. And let me say, one thing I want to emphasize is, because the president is going to definitely speak to our numbers. But what is happening currently with our revenue is increasing, So This year we're going to hit 600 million.
This year.
Yeah, domestic revenue. So for the first time, we're going to hit 600 million domestic revenue because we're at 579. But we are hoping that when all our numbers are in, we will hit 600 million, which of course, indicate our slogan when we say, we have to move to billions. So if you take out all of the external resources, you will realize that we expect that customs will hit 200 million and domestic tax will hit minimum 400 million.
Okay. Now, so before we talk about the future, Mr. Commissioner General, we want to inquire from you what really led to the increase after 2017. What really led to the increase?
So let me say this much. There are a couple of things that people do not know, and we need to emphasize our role in the Ministry of Finance. So the Ministry of Finance is on the policy side, and we are on the tax administration side. And it's possible that revenue could increase because on the policy side, say the Ministry of Finance decides to increase, rates, say add maybe 5% to excise, which is done maybe through the legislature. But then on the other side, which is the administration side, which we control, which we have control over, is the administrative side. Now, it's possible that revenue can also increase because of the actions that you take on the administrative side, which is making the whole process effective and efficient. And I think we've done a lot of that. We focus on our side. So what have we done to make, the administrative side efficient in terms of our transaction with the public and our engagement? For instance, tax clearance. And, tax practitioners will tell you that you want a tax clearance, you go online, you get it. Once you have nothing, you get a tax clearance, you download it. You do not have to come to LRA. That's up to you.
Okay.
And before, if you want a tax clearance, well, I mean, you're gonna walk and your shoes will get eaten up. I'm just saying. And that experience wasn't a good experience.
Okay.
So we've been able to digitize that process. We've been able to make sure that people are paying from their accounts. You can give instruction to your bank, and your bank can debit your account in lieu of your taxes. You can pay taxes by mobile money. We've improved our website, where you can now go to our website and you have detailed information regarding our activities. We've also introduced apps that is meant to fight, corruption. We call Find Officer. So if one of our officers go to your business and we say do not give him money if he doesn't identify, himself or herself. You do not have, you are under no compulsion to interact with that person. If that person cannot identify with an LRA ID card. And in that process, if you go to the app and you put the person ID number, you're supposed to see them. Now, if they transact with you well, you can say, look, I love this staff. They did so well for us. If they did not transact with you well and they wanted to blackmail you, you can write. And that goes straight to our PED, where that staff gets investigated. So we've been able to in a way, engage, with the business community. And as a foundation of all of what we've done with the business community, almost a month ago, Daniel, the LRA was recognized by the Liberia Chamber of Commerce as a national partner. You understand? Which is unprecedented. I remember one of the ambassadors asked me, this is interesting, how come the business people think that the tax collector is their friend and they will honor the tax collector? I was even the installing officer at that program. So we are trying to build an ecosystem, that is functional, where we can meet the needs of the business people while they pay taxes. We want to be more responsive. If they have challenges, which we ought to address it. People bring things into the country if they believe that the custom process were hacked. We gave them the possibility to protest, and in our process, if we are wrong, we give you a refund. If we are correct, we hold our ground. So all of those different engagements we've done, we've been able to have our taxpayer services go out to the Fula business community, Indian business community, Lebanese business community, Liberia Business Association, and we've been very proactive. Many times I, as the CG, go along with my interpreters, and we interact with these people. And I think that's the essence of, the work we do. Now, I can also come to, other issues regarding digitalization. For instance, we've now introduced, fiscal devices where in real time, if we install those devices at your business premise, we can see your transaction real time. We've introduced the electronic fiscal device. We've also introduced the excise stamps. You will notice now that if you buy beer, you buy alcoholic beverages, you notice there's a stamp on it. But all of those intervention are processes that we are undertaking. It will take time for us to come to, full completion and full fruition. But those interventions are there. And as we speak, we also trying to improve our customs activities. So at the Freeport of Monrovia, we are hoping that, after we've dealt with all of the different problems concerning the land and all of that, we can build a facility that will allow us to scan cargo as it comes into the country. You hear all this issue about people trying to smuggle different contraband to the containers and all of that. We have to agree that we need to modernize the system, and all other government functionaries have to be supportive of this work. It is not just about when you have a problem, then you complain. But the reason why some of these things are what they are is because we lack the kind of infrastructure to do, the kind of work we want to do.
Surely.
Yeah, we're in a modern age. Many countries now, you go, container leaves the port, it goes through the scanner. The scanner will see a lot of different things based on our technology. You can be able to say this container, put it on this side, But even at that, despite all of the challenges, I can tell you, we've been able to do a lot. I always, when I hear all the press conferences about the things that happen, you don't see LRA. We're not in the talking business.
Yeah.
So sometimes we are the one who find these things, we turn it over to the agencies, and then they have the press conferences and all of that. In fact, some other people come and they palm off, why this can happen. But for us, we want to do our work. And that's our key focus. And like I always say, some of the day you do not take pay, then it means LRA not working.
Okay.
You understand? So we want to say that when you see all the rules, for one of the first time in our country, there are rules coming all over the place, and you do not see signs that is from an external partner. When the president goes to inaugurate these projects, you see him with an array of government officials, right? It's not foreign partners. It's because our resources are working for us. So imagine if we continue to pay our taxes and increase our revenue envelope, what's going to happen to our country? It's all there for us to see. And that's why, like Daniel said, we have to as Liberians, understand that taxes will change the way our country is,
Sure.
We have to pay our taxes. If you run a small business, just put your widow's mite in the whole basket, and you will see it. The other day, I know we want to do the road from New Bridge all the way to St. Paul Bridge and MDMC. So who's going to pay for that? We're hoping that our revenue will pay for that. The same thing with the RIA road.
Yeah, surely.
But one thing people do not also understand is, so you go to the World Bank give you loan. You can be as happy as you want because the World Bank has given you 40 million
Upfront. Okay.
upfront, but you have to pay. So where you think the money to pay back that loan comes from? It comes from what the LRA does. So the Ministry of Finance has domestic debt and foreign debt that they have to service. Where do you think the money they use to service those debt will come from? It comes from the revenue we collect. So in as much as you credit, you have to understand that you have to repay. But you can only repay if you also increase your revenue envelope. So this is where we are.
Okay. Now, can I come in? I know over the years, like you indicated, you introduced a number of some innovative things that you introduced at the LRA. You talk about the fiscal devices and all of that. They too also, make some new recruitment, because trying to collect taxes, sending people to the field and putting in place all of those necessary mechanisms. You need manpower. I'm sure. Were you able to also step up the manpower you had, or they seem, individuals that you met them?
So let me tell you something. And your employees are the foundation on which you stand. So even when I go somewhere and somebody says, "Oh, we tend to praise the person at the top," but the reality is, the people who work are the people who are the foundation of our successes. Yes, we've been able to recruit, but I can tell you that I'm very proud of the kind of human resource that we have.
Okay.
For instance, we took Daniel from you.
I know,
And
because
you-
you got the kudos.
No, it's not the kudos. No, we don't. It's not just because we have money,
Okay,
but we're
okay.
talking because you heard him expanding. You heard him expanding. So it's the quality of people that we want at the LRA. So there are a lot of people that say, "Oh, we to get job, we don't just employ for employing sake." Yeah, but we employ. You get my point. But we are also keen on the quality.
Okay.
So if you go to the LRA, I can tell you, I don't know whether there's any government agency that has the reservoir of human resource that we have concentrated over there. I'm very proud of those people. I know they're highly capable people. And that's the reason why when we innovate, we get result, And so one of the things we've done is to make sure that our staff, are in a place where they are satisfied. For instance, we have our loan scheme. You remember those days they used to do the LPA, where you can go.
You reintroduced that.
Oh, we introduced that. I can tell you that with the entities we are dealing with, we've crossed 1.5 million. So many of our staff are building their houses. They go and they take television. We are doing a lot of different things. You even saw the last time when we interacted with you, where our staff has agreed on for us to form the LRA Foundation. And people say, "Oh, how can you be running a foundation?" All of those kind of conversations. But we are as far as the LRA is concerned, we are at a different level. You understand? We want to be the pace setter in things that we do.
Okay.
So our staff is the foundation of what we intend to achieve. So whether they should have insurance, whether they should have, different access to things, we try as much as possible to satisfy all of those different. And I think it's one of the key elements as to why, we are doing what we are doing.
Now, Daniel, looking at the innovative things that that were introduced under the leadership of Commissioner Thomas now. Let me be specific about the fiscal devices. Like you said, if that is attached to a business institution, the LRA would definitely determine all of the transactions. Is it do you install it based on the consent from the business institutions, or you do so basically for your own interest?
So but yes, the idea behind the idea behind the electronic fiscal devices. So if we're needing their consent to install it, no one will want it.
Why? But what would you get?
And
Because
here is why, Sobo. And the reason is simple because these devices are there to do several things, but very key amongst them is to help us determine what your sales are over a period. Now, let me break it down for you. It would interest you to know that certain very big businesses in this country have been seriously and grossly under declaring what they make. And based on the tax percentage that they're supposed to pay, they obviously would underpay government. Meanwhile, they make more profit and they benefit and the country will not benefit. And this is something that we've noticed over the years. So what these devices, can do is being attached to your system. Now, some people may run a manual system, others may run a digital system. So the devices are in different categories. If you run a digital system, there's a specific device that will be assigned to. If you run a manual system, they will assign you a device that you will enter in directly instead of using your manual system. So the idea is when you're entering or making sales, we're seeing it in real time at LRA office. That's the first advantage we have. So you're not going to write on a piece of paper
against the interest of the business.
against the interest of the LRA and in your interest. Because if you don't declare certain sales, that profit goes to you exclusively without taxes. So once we see it in real time, we're able to make a determination as to what your tax is over the quarter. Now, do you know that a business will declare $2,000-3,000 a month or per quarter? And with the installation of the device, that business is reporting over $10,000 a quarter. Do you see the disparity there? Now, these are real-time numbers. So the devices are there to, one, help us raise revenue, two, to reduce under-declaration, and amongst other things, to help raise revenue for the country. Because at the end of the day, Saba, when we undercut what is supposed to come to government, what are we doing to the country? We're hurting the country. Yet and still we go and criticize that this is not happening and that is not happening. It's not going to happen magically. So these devices are being rolled out to large businesses, medium businesses, and over time to small businesses. Because the idea is to, and business people, trust me, they always have their issues.
So how do you get their consent before you install it? Do you appeal to them or you just install it?
No, but Sobo, what I mean, like I indicated to you, the relationship we've built with the business community, it requires us, to definitely get their input.
Okay.
So numerous times we will call, information session, and some of the businesses will send the tax practitioners and all of that. So during that session, we inform them that, we have this new program, and we get the buy-in. But you should also understand, like he said, it's a program that is related to our work. So you have to receive it. You have to install it.
Compulsorily.
Oh yes, some of it is compulsory. But the thing is, we also are engaging. We provide an opportunity where we work around fixing all of the problems so that you accept it. So we are rubbing your head while you.
Can you imagine that? Okay, let me inquire from you, Mr. CG. I know you have category of taxes that people pay, right? Some the property tax and the one that the business people pay as well. We want to know from you over the period which one you really yielded, the sort of benefit.
So that's a very technical question, and it will require me having some of the data here.
Okay.
But I can speak to it in most and generally, for us to be performing as we are doing, it means most of our tax TEP are also performing.
Okay.
You understand? So like he indicated about the electronic fiscal devices, right? Those devices will obviously help in our collection of GST. But now,
what is the GST?
GST is general service tax.
Okay.
But the GST, besides the GST, we are now installing those devices to every business, and the reason for that is we realize that it is not just GST that we're tracking. We also want to track, your turnover, more broadly. So once you own a business in this country, eventually you will have a device at your premise, and that's one of the intervention we are doing. So all of the businesses, large, medium, small, will have a device. We have devices for small business. We have some for medium and some for large. So we're going to install those devices once you exist in this country. You understand? So it's an ongoing process.
Okay.
Yes. And the other thing is real property, right? So real property taxes, interestingly, many of our people do not want to pay the real property taxes. They own nice homes and they don't pay.
Why do you think so?
Oh, yes. But the thing is the issue of enforcement. And we are getting to the point where, we will be very rigorous on enforcement. Over the period we've been, so we have basically increased the net around real property. We've increased it almost 100%, based on what we met and where we are now.
Okay.
And we are even expanding the real property net. So we've done a pilot in Margibi, where we are saying now the real property taxes should reside in the counties. So if you're in Margibi and you pay your real property tax, say $50, $25 should stay there. We're doing a pilot. We now move that pilot to Grand Bassa.
Okay.
Because all of that is in line with the Local Government Act, But we think taxes are supposed to benefit the people, And all of the taxes can just go into the consolidated, and then we are all struggling to get our allotment. But there are some taxes that, if it resides within the county, it tends to stimulate development. So we at the LRA decided, look, we'll do a pilot while the act on revenue sharing is being and finalized.
Okay.
We want to gain expertise in understanding all of the intricacies around how to collect or revenue from real property taxes from local government, also with their involvement. So we've done the Margibi pilot. We now go into Grand Bassa, and eventually, if we deepen that engagement, we expect that counties will now start to benefit. But the superintendent, the representatives, these people have to be more supportive. Many of them are cold feet around some of these issues, which bothers me. If you are a representative or a senator and such an idea is tabled, that benefits your county. Now, we can't be running behind you. You are supposed to be running behind us. But in this country, you bring interesting idea, you are running behind somebody who you want to transform. You understand? And if that's the case, it undermines innovation. So why should we innovate? So as a revenue authority, we say, okay, we'll collect the money, but we think it is best that some of the money, stays in the county. So we go to the Ministry of Finance and convince them and say, look, we think this is a project. The Minister of Finance is generous, he agrees.
He agreed, yeah.
Right? Now we started. Now who you think is supposed to be and generating all the balls around and getting that project started? Should it be us? We're not even so the right. Once you hear about it, you're supposed to come running behind us. Because that is supposed to energize, the local.
The superintendents, the representatives, the senators from the counties should be cooperating, especially when you introduce a new idea. But don't you think that it would have been quite necessary if you had just caught a meeting of them to share your thoughts with them?
So let me tell you something, Sabo. In this country, we have to be more proactive and overly official. You understand? And one of the reasons why I think the LRA succeeds in what we do is not because we're very proactive, engaging. Okay. You understand? If I hear something, look, I can tell you, I go to I go to a bar, and I see the boss at that bar, a lot of people. Well, I mean, forgive me, that's my bar habit. I leave from there, I call the person, I say, this bar? and send me the GST. Let me see. Now, I said that maybe they brought a bill for me, $200. I see every other person, and then I say, so what this person declare for the month? They declare $200. Now, is that possible? Right there, I writing you a letter. You get my point. So when we hear things that are transformative, we have to go after them.
Okay.
You get my point. When we're running after people to vote for us, we go after them. We're very proactive. So the country is not just about politics. It's about the transformation of people's lives.
Okay.
So when people bring interesting ideas and you hear it, you go running after them. It's not so much about, oh, you should. And you know, that's for me, that's one of the things that is stifling our Sunday. You must write special letter to somebody. Then when you write, they can't come.
Convene a meeting, all
You
of
convene
that.
a meeting. And every day of our lives, you know, we require things to happen. If we continue at this pace, we'll all get old
Sure.
and achieve nothing. So that's the reason why we are proactive.
Okay.
Somebody will say, oh, that idea regarding the revenue sharing, but we are saying at the LRA, we are not just tax collector. We are also enablers of the revenue process. So if we see a public entity that is not doing, we go there and say, look, we can excite you to do this. That's being proactive.
Okay. Now, Mr. CG and your communication officer, the issue of waiver and duty free over the years, how did you manage to handle it? Did it in any way reduce what you expected to have raised, or did it in any way help, the LRA?
No, so yeah, obviously duty free is part of the whole process. And you know, we also want to bring a new context and thinking to this whole issue of tax expenditure and duty free. You understand? And to a large extent, we also have to give the government credit. Because, say, you hear people complaining about a lot of things. You see NGOs, or churches, or hospitals, and everybody complaining. But what they do not talk about, you know, is what the government gives to them through duty free, that when it's quantified, you understand, it's a substantial amount of our revenue. So some of the people we gave these things to, maybe we need to publish all the names so everybody see. You get my point? Because we are giving substantial amount of benefits to churches, to NGOs, to international NGOs, to orphanages, and all of that. Now, if we quantify that, that is almost in the tune of more than $50 million. Now, if we're giving all of that to us and you're not sinking our praises, then something must be happening somewhere. So the issue of duty-free is not necessarily negative, right? Because it's subsidizing, you know, all of these different humanitarian organizations, and that's what we do. So even this year, in our reporting, we're going to report our full potential. I was speaking to our policy team. We're going to report the full potential of our revenue, that which was given away, and the impact. Because people bring drugs here. They bring drugs. I'm talking about the good drugs. I'm not talking about the medical drugs. They bring those drugs. They give it to clinics free. We give them duty free on that. Now, if we quantify that, doesn't it benefit the society?
It does.
And that's one of the reasons. All of these construction projects you see, roads, we give duty free, you know, to some of the companies to bring in trucks. Somebody says, oh, let everybody pay. Well, it depends. Sometimes it's important to pay, but if that's not the case, are we having impact when we see, you know, new roads opening? So sometimes the conversation is an intellectual conversation. And I can tell you, but I'm just putting it on the table. When you look at the full potential of our revenue, it's close to more than 700 million. But if you talk about what we collect, like I said to you, we go into 6. But when you add all of those different, you know, subsidized, you know, processes.
Okay. Now, we'll be opening the lines shortly, but before then, you emphasize that moving forward, and this year, you're going to reach 600 million, a lot of money. Mr. CG and your communication man. How do you intend, Mr. CG? I heard you talk about engaging, the taxpayers, engaging businesses, and but how do you intend? Because we don't want to, again start hearing the song that you raise the hope of the people, and at the end of the day, we don't raise that revenue. We come way down. What are the strategies? What are you planning? Moving ahead, moving forward.
Well, you see, Saba, we are raising revenue with the people, right? And we envisage that we continue to expand the base. And in the expansion of the base, as we speak, we are doing a lot to ensure that people, come into the basket. Let me just give you an example. And these are things that we are looking at seriously. Government employees. Most of our government employees, if I came to LBS, many of the people here own houses. Are they paying? No. Why you be working for government, you benefiting, you own property, and you can't pay?
You're not paying for the property.
You get my point? So, and let me tell you something.
So you go after those employees?
Well, me, at LRA, for me, I'm not a politician. So I want to also emphasize that this year, we need taxes because the country has to go. So when we're doing our thing, I don't want somebody to come and say, oh, you have an obligation to pay. You understand? So we put politics in a parking lot, we put tax collection in another parking lot. You get my point? For our politics to flourish, it means that we have to have the taxes to be able. Right now, NEC, if you see NEC and asking for money, where do you think the money comes from? Besides what our extended partners will give, it's from revenue. So our revenue helps us to have a vibrant electoral system. And this government is doing a lot to assist NEC to make our elections process viable. Nobody will tell you, say, our elections have a problem. Over the period, if we have by-election, it has happened. You understand? Credit to the president, the government. Our democracy is flourishing, but it's flourishing because we've been able to stabilize the economy, through some of our actions. Many of our neighboring countries they are struggling, and that's the other story people don't say about where we are. You can come on the radio and talk wherever you want to talk.
We heard about what was happening in Sierra Leone.
Ghana, all these places. Our exchange rate has been stable for the past 2 years. But we in a process where you always have to find something somewhere to speak. But that's why, like I said to you, we have to be focused on where we want to go. You understand? In the president's agenda, as the LRA, work to ensure that he achieves the agenda, we have to be focused.
So the question I ask you, Mr. CG, and you're your communication man, because we're trying to, we got this program recorded now.
Yeah.
Well, you said that moving forward this year, in fact, you're going to raise our revenue envelope. This question we ask: how are you intend to do it? What are the programs that you've earmarked? What's the strategies?
Yeah. So, like I said, most of our programs is ongoing.
Because we'll replay the thing over and over again.
Yeah. But you replay and I show it will be useful for. So, like I said before, I give you. For me, I like to speak using examples. Right? Sometimes I told you about the issue of public officials. So maybe I need to start with LBS.
But why LBS?
You
You took employee from here,
yeah, but even if the employee got property, you gotta pay. No, but I'm just giving you an example,
Yes,
right?
surely.
You are the beneficiary of taxes. You expect your salary to come there. You got a house. All you have to do is to pay your taxes on your house. You get my point? And let me use this opportunity to praise the legislature. I wrote the legislators and said, look, to be able to get some of the benefits, you need tax clearance to show that you've paid all your real property. And I can tell you that members of the legislature are religiously paying their real property taxes because when they come and make the request, They will attach the real property taxes. We'll go through it, and it's interesting, right? That same memo was in two for one for the executive, one for the economy. The executive side, we have to work on it. But I can tell you that the legislature, you understand? Because the challenge.
When you say we have to work on it, what do you mean? It means that many of the those executives didn't comply.
Oh no, many of the ministers, but I'm talking about in the executive. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people working in. If you go to LRA, for instance, there are a lot of people in LRA that got their own personal properties, right? So we for us, we can always write when that time coming. You can't be a staff of LRA. You're not paying that tax. You understand? And you won't,
That is sackable.
but that's what I'm saying. so the question, and we'll come and tell them again. You get my point. So we go into that point where if it means we do salary reduction and deduction, if that's what you want, we can go ahead. But paying taxes is sacred. Is the lifeblood of the country's success. The reason why you see the only difference between the US, Europe, and Africa, I can tell you taxes. We don't want to pay taxes. If you take Liberia, as small as we are, you go to another country as small as and we are. The only difference between us, we don't want to pay taxes, but we want to be begging for other people money.
So in another word, you'll be relying on property taxes to achieve the over $600 million.
That just-
$600 million. Make a reference.
That's just one expansion.
Okay.
The other expansion is around other domestic taxes. Like we discussed the issue of GST, putting the electronic fiscal devices, right? The issue of the excise tax is going to cause us to generate more revenue in regards to alcoholic beverages and other drinks. Then the other thing that we've done, for instance, now for you to import into Liberia, you need a tax clearance. Before, people just come and import at any time. If you do not have a tax clearance, you can't import.
Okay.
Now, what we've noticed about that, someone goes to the business register of business, and that business is a small business. Now, when you give them, if they produce the tax clearance at the port, they brought maybe 10 containers. But your tax clearance say you're a small business. What do you think happens there? You can be a small business. We send you back to domestic tax. We go into our custom system. We look at all your previous, and we give you a bill, in which case you owe us. So all of that has been happening. As we speak, there are a lot of people, a lot of businesses that are not declared. And sometimes they will bring protests. Like yesterday, I was looking at one interesting one. Medex says increase the price. They protest. I go through the protest. I did my own research. That item that they provided, there's no way. So Medtech was right. So what do you think? I would deny the protest? Now, there are situations where obviously we go a bit higher in the protest and we go through it. We give them the reprieve. And if business people are truthful, they will come and say, we do that. You get my point. We give you what is yours and we take what is ours. And that's why the LRA usually say we collect only legitimate taxes. You understand? If there's any reason why we've taken what we can take from you, we'll give you a refund.
Okay.
Yes. So there, I can tell you there's a panoply of things that we're going to do to continuously increase, our revenue.
Envelope.
Yeah.
Okay, now, over the period I will make a reference to, I think that's the final question before I open the lines. What is the, over that period, you were able to establish the foundation at the LRA, Mr. Commissioner General and your communication officer. What is the rationale, setting up or forming such a foundation or establishing such a foundation? What's the rationale? What are you aiming at?
So LBS was a benefit.
Oh, no, I can't mean. Well, you got to bring it up LBS now.
No, but I was saying,
I'm asking you a question on a general level.
No. but it's good for the public to see what, has evolved with regards to the foundation.
Okay.
Where you were having a children party during Christmas, and we realized that we could also contribute. Most of the kids that were involved, thousands of, hundreds of kids were, their parents are taxpayers. So I don't think it's wrong for us to.
But I'm sure you go beyond Christmas party. Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's just one example of the impact. But you see, like I say, we are pace setters, and I'm not surprised in this country that when you set the pace, you hear people come and ask all kind of interesting questions. It's because some people just want us to be where we are.
Yeah.
They are satisfied.
Just
where,
static.
Yeah, just static. They don't want. So, for instance, we settle the LRA Foundation. Somebody come and say, "Oh, it's not best practice." The IRS. The question is, I don't. When we think for the LRA, we don't go see where GRA in Ghana doing where our president want us to be progressive. You understand? Innovative with all the different projects he undertaken. I remember when he decided to do 14 military. People are saying, oh, but today a lot of people going to 14 military. Even the COVID time, it was the backbone of our response. So we come and form a foundation, and you hear people talking, oh, what are you doing? You're supposed to focus on your tax. Now let me tell you, if you can multitask and you can be multifarious in your transaction, then you're not going anywhere. The issue about the foundation is because we have corporate social responsibility. We are doing service. The LRA is not a normal government ministry, right? We have customers. The people who pay taxes to us are our customers.
Okay.
We are supposed to cater to them. So from a corporate perspective, we have responsibility to the communities. So our staff have decided to come together and say, look, we'll form a foundation. We form the foundation. Who's going to contribute to the foundation? We're not going to beg business people necessarily to contribute. For instance, I am the CG. To that foundation, I have said that every month they will deduct $50 for me for the LRA Foundation.
Okay.
You understand? Commissioner Samoa, Commissioner
Talare.
Talare, our legal, all of them made contribution. We expect that President Daniel will say, take a $1 from me.
Oh, he hasn't said it yet?
No, I mean, yeah. We're still negotiating with him. You understand? He will take a $1 from his salary. So we have to understand that we can't just be the normal way.
Okay.
So the foundation is going, you're going to see that foundation will be contributing to orphanages. For instance, so but what do you do with your used clothes? You take used clothes from people in the US to sell, and we call it Tocaflare. Now, if I buy a new clothes and I no longer need it, isn't it possible that I can bring it together, wash it nicely, and share with people who need it?
Yeah, surely.
So those are the kind of things that we want to do with the foundation.
Okay.
The foundation can decide that LRA staff will go and we want, for instance, we're thinking on the environment. We can go and say, look, we're cleaning the environment of plastic, for instance. Now, are you saying because we do that, it means we'll not collect tax? In fact, as part of our taxpayer awareness process, corporate responsibility is also part of your awareness. So that foundation is part of our whole awareness mechanism.
Okay.
You understand? When big corporations give, it helps their corporate image. So when the LRA forms a foundation and we give to humanity and we give to people, it helps our image. It gives them more reason to want to listen to our messages around tax pay.
Okay. Well, that's the Commissioner General of the Liberal Revenue Authority, Thomas Donai. He's also here along with his Senior Communication Officer, Daniel Ankra. 077-6540-987. I'm sure we'll go up to 10:15 because we had this interruption as a result of electricity. 0776-540-987 or better still 0880-514-096. That's the numbers to call, and you are live on the SMS this morning. 0776-540-987 or better still. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Christopher B. Kenneth, calling for the second time. And I would like to say to the RRA boss, thanks very much for the innovation. And this is a organization of our economy is very, very much important. It's key in giving rise to rise in revenue. But what I want to say here, for those of the people who continue to say the President of the Republic of Liberia is inept in his leadership, they should shine an eye. and see for themselves. Because take for typical example, in my community, we have street lights being painted. I mean, the 72nd SKD Boulevard. The street is being beautified. And we have running water all over the place. That means the taxes we pay is working. So I want to thank the government of the Republic of Liberia for looking after the citizens, because light, water, infrastructure, and all other basic necessities is good for the living standard of the people.
Okay.
So, Mr. General, thank you very much for your steadfastness and your good work. Thank you very much.
Many thanks as well. 0776 540 987 or better still 0880 096. That's the numbers to call. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Okay, this is Simon Olomugo calling you from Nova County to be specific. District number 2, where they should this morning. Okay, first of all, let me appreciate the commissioner, because from the time they did the country from the 2018 and to present condition, we have seen the country, the by-election, the been doing all of things, and know that we are working. But one good thing is about the Liberians don't like to pay tax. When you ask them for tax, you get a war. But the real estate, I mean, one of the evidence, even when you pay real estate, sometimes people will call you, you benefit quick from government. So thank you so much, Mr. Commissioner, for the way you're helping the country. Thank you so much.
Many thanks. This is what I call her. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah, this is Ishmael ID Jensen, calling me Melbourne community, and I'm calling you from Canada, Nova County, Liberia. Let me appreciate our able commissioner in the studio this morning. You know, so let me tell you something. To take over something newly, especially a country, to work the way they have worked, we believe we'll give them a chance for the next 6 years. Things will happen in this country that we have never saw before. So let them thank you, let them keep on the good job. Thank you, they have done well. May God bless them. Thank you.
Okay, let's take this other caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Nawama, and I do come from Colorado, District, Bond County. Yeah, I got a concern. I want to tell you guys, thank you very much for the deliberation. It is time.
Hello? Hello? We can continue with him. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm Harris Ipunge calling you from Foya District number 1, Lofa County.
Okay.
Okay, let me appreciate the commissioner for the LRA so much for what they are doing. You know, these are some of the leaders we lack in our country. Looking at what they are doing now is so much importance, and I appreciate them for what they are doing. It is so good. You know, things are going on better. Some people are saying that our president is not doing nothing. But for us, as we are saying, the government and what the LRA is doing, so I'm so happy and joyful. I have to appreciate them for their support. Thank you so much.
Many thanks also. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is now my take what I on the line. It's now my and I do come from Bowman, District, Bond County. Yeah, I want to tell the student guys, thank you very much. You know, it is time payment that last year there was a program at the Baga Administrative Building that the farmer, the Labrador program, you know, in line with the LRA. And that in that workshop, in that program,
Okay, I'm sure the Commissioner General will answer that. I'm sure he can remember. 0776 540 987 or better still 0880 514 096. Let me take this call on the line. Good morning. Yes, good morning, sir. Hello? Oh, he's off the line. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Good morning.
So, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay, I'm Dana GC. He's calling from here, the junction. Firstly, I want to commend the Commissioner General and his team in Syria at the Ankara for the great job done at the LRA. A couple of weeks ago, when EFBC were trying to get the best minister of the year. There were three persons that selected. Commissioner General Doe and Samuel Toure and out of Glasgow, Glasgow. There have been huge transformation at the LRA. What I want to recommend is that I want the Commissioner General to take off his own time to visit the Leeward County, where we have our tax business offices.
Okay. Okay. Many thanks. 0776 540 987 or better still 0880 514 096. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Clinton Abraham Celia. I call you from up there for the Hills Passion Community, Caracas City.
Okay.
I just want to say thanks to the CG this morning on the deliberation. You know, that's a very good thing to every nation. I think when it comes to development or for the nation to be developed, the issue of taxes is very key. So I just want to say thanks to the CG for the innovation they are bringing to our tax sector. And one key thing he talks about is about the FTA thing that is there for their employees. I just wish and pray that some other land ministries and agencies will give us such an idea so that other staff and civil servants can benefit and then they can pay tax indirectly so that our revenue can increase. Thank you very much for the discussion this morning.
Many thanks. 0776 540 987 or better still 0880 514 096. I'm sure we'll take on the three more calls and I'll wrap it up quickly. 0776 540 987 or better still 0880 514 096. That's the numbers to call. And you are live on the SMS. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm okay.
This is Ruben Nimle calling for Rosas County.
Let's hear from you, sir.
Yeah, I just want to commend the CG and his team. Thank you for the great work we're doing at the office there. And we just want to acknowledge them for the good work.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Solo.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to our director, our commissioner general in studio. My name is Patrick Mawu, and I call you from the Soul Clinic community. Let me just use this medium to appreciate the commissioner general, and we are grateful to have you in our governance systems of Liberia. We want to say thank you for everything, where you took our revenue from, the level you have brought it, and I know there are more to be done. Thank you very much this morning.
Okay. Let me take this other caller quickly. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Good morning. This is Cyrus Fadi. How are you?
I'm okay.
Okay. All right. Look, I listened to your conversation, and I just wanted to ask the CGE, how far are we from benefiting from income tax returns like it is done in the U.S. at the end of the year? People who pay income tax get some little break, they get some returns. How far are we from this? There are other suggestions I have, but I don't want my business friends to get angry with me, so I prefer to do that quietly or privately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Many thanks, Mr. Barrio. Okay, let's go back to the CG and his communication officer. Let me just squeeze this one in. This last caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Samuel Gagaya calling from Clearsburg this morning.
Yes, sir. Let's hear from you.
I want to say a big thank you to the Commissioner General and his team. Yesterday, I walked from Junction all the way to PNJ Joba. I see the kind of work that is done on the quota, on the road. The construction quota now getting on our road. So I want to appreciate it so much for the hard work. And also for the LRA road. I see the work that they are doing there. I want to tell them thank you so much. God
Okay.
bless them.
Okay. Thank you also. Thank you for calling. Yes, Mr. Commissioner General, you and your communication officer can respond.
So let me start with my big brother Cyrus Badio first. You understand? And Cyrus, we are very far from and tax return. You understand? And I understand the reason why people are concerned. We have a lot of Liberians in the diaspora, and then when they get a tax return, it's beneficial. But there's more complexity around, how that system works that will cause, the issue regarding tax return. But it's possible. In as much as we're far from actualizing it yet, but it's possible.
Okay.
It's basically you file, you understand, you do your filings, maybe you did charitable contribution and all, and you claim it. You get my point. But just imagine the amount of data, or the quality of data that we need to be able to do such a work. And that's why we are improving. In fact, we are now introduced a new or tax administration system, right? And it's something that I forgot to talk about. And our new tax administration system is going live shortly. We extending it to the counties. But that is going to take our system from being a standalone, where to access it, most of the time it was only with the LRA staff on our intranet. But now we are putting the whole tax system in the hands of everybody.
Okay.
So businesses will be able to log into the system and look at the tax, the filings and file online and everything. Besides that new system, we are now taking your national identification number and we are making that national identification number your TIN number. Because you see, in the whole digital ecosystem, let me ask you something. I go and get my national ID number. Then I go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for passport. Then they say, I should go bring birth certificate and everything. But the question, I went to the national ID and I brought birth certificate, they did everything. They gave me a national ID. Why when I go for my passport, then you ask me to bring every other thing and I go through a new process?
No.
So at the LRA, we pay some money to the for additional access to the national identification and registry. All we have to do when you come and you want to apply, once you give us that your ID and we put it in the system, we see the database.
Okay.
Now, if we see the database, do we need to ask you to bring all the things that you never brought before? Not necessarily. So we have to be digitally smart in the country. Okay. You understand? And in the process, make life easy. And in that case, we move away all the bureaucracy and some of the things that's causing substantial corruption. People just want to create system for people to give them kickbacks. But when you digitize the system, the question is you have no control over it because sometimes I do not have to meet with you physically. So you can't ask me for anything. If I do all my tax clearing thing and you're okay and you send it to me, do I have to go and ask? But imagine if you had to go from division to division. Some people say, my man, before I sign it here, you got to give me small thing. You don't drop small thing, you're not getting. So we have to move away from that thing and modernize our things. Those petty things undermines the effectiveness of the government.
Okay.
So the issue with tax or return is more complex than just going to the US and take it from there and say, we'll bring it here. You understand? Because typically, everybody is supposed to file. You get my point? You're supposed to file to us. Now, if we go through that regime, but imagine if everybody were fighting and they say you made donation. So, but everybody will say they made donation. Will not be even able to pay back. Everybody in the country will say they made donation. You have to be able to identify even the entities that you are making donation to.
Yeah.
So if I go to the church and I make a $200 donation, I'm supposed to claim it. Now, everybody's saying that they made donation. You know what it means? We had a situation with used cars. We don't give used cars to charities, to churches, to anybody. Because when we did that, every car that came in the country said they came for a charity. You think we'll collect anything today?
No, not at all.
So we don't give used car. You bring new car, we give it to you. You bring used car, pay for it. So I want people to know, because some people still can send that thing when I deny them, you charity. We don't give charity. Even government ministries and agencies. Government and officials have come, the government buy me car here, and it's not easy. I said, well, minister, you got to, or director, you got to pay for that car, because in our government system or regime, we do not give used cars. So even the government people apply for used cars, we don't give it to them. Okay. So we don't give it to churches. The government is not segregating in any way. We just do not give used cars for duty-free to government entities or to charities, to churches and everybody.
Okay. Okay.
You understand? So that's the other thing about the farmers. I know our domestic tax division is working with, rubber farmers. There's an association. They had a meeting in Bond County.
Yep.
I think
They
that
even signed the MOU.
Yeah, they signed the MOU. So it's an ongoing process.
Okay.
Some of our intervention will take some time because you are dealing with people. You have to bring different systems into play. So caller is delaying. I can assure you after here I'll have a conversation with the domestic tax commissioner to get an update, and we can see how we can push for this. But I also appreciate that, citizens in Lofa County and across the country is listening, to this process. And I can see that, people are getting activated. For the first time in our history, many times now, people just walk to the LRA and say they came to pay their taxes.
Sure.
I see that all the time. And like we say, anything you bring, we can take it. Let people know that when you have taxes to pay, let's say you get 1,000. There's nothing that says if you're supposed to pay 1,000 for your real property, you have to pay all. If you borrow 100, we'll hold it.
Okay.
We can't tell you to take money away. Anything you bring, we'll hold it.
And you give receipt.
Oh, we'll give you receipt
Okay.
and tell you the difference you owe. You get my point? If you have a challenge, come and speak to us. That's why I was saying we're a corporate entity trying to deal with our customers who are the taxpayers. So we're not just a normal entity. We're running a system where there's interaction between people who want to convince to give us something, So it's not just application of the law. I remember when I came, we got some destination say enforce us and something. So I said, well, how you go tell somebody, we'll send an enforcer to you. That's call ourselves relationship officer.
Yeah.
But that has situated in a situation where you see business people, they come to talk to me and they say, oh, this time when people come to talk to us, they are friendly. So let me tell you, when you see us closing a business, it means that business, we've gone all we can do. That's why you see us putting lock. It doesn't make sense that somebody just wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to lock that place.
Yeah.
We even tell our staff, you don't threaten people, oh, when you pay, I will lock you. No. To lock is a process. Even right now, we have to go to the court. You get my point? We've engaged with the tax court, we go to the court. So if we decide to lock you, it means you just totally delinquent.
Okay.
We have gave you notice. You can't do anything, we come after you. Government have to get the money.
Okay, CG, any final message so we can take leave of you quickly?
Daniel will give our final message.
Daniel.
All right, thank you. So let me also say thanks to our community radio partners who are relaying the show as a result of us being here, across several counties. But I also like to end on this note, that when the CG went for his confirmation hearing at the legislature, and I mentioned two senators who spoke about why they thought it was important to have him confirmed. Senators Sir Joseph and Darius DeLon. And the reason is because they both mentioned that aside from their position as legislators, they also thought that they would get the clemency of the CG to get this duty free. When the senator brought in for his medical facility, when the other senator brought in for his buses, they had to pay. And they acknowledged the fact that he made them pay. And he told them that regardless of you being a senator, a minister, whoever, you were supposed to pay. And that is the kind of culture and tax administration system that we're running. That whether you're a senator, you're a minister, whoever you are, paying tax is not anybody's or no individual person's responsibility. It's a responsibility of everyone to be able to pay their taxes. Know that it's a responsibility. And that is why the LRA continues under the CG to make these strives to make sure that people are able to pay their taxes. And that is why in Bassa now, the same tax administration system we're running in Monrovia has been rolled out to Grand Bassa County, where electronically you don't even have to come to Monrovia to pay your taxes. So on the overall, we say thanks to Liberians who are paying. We encourage Liberians who are not paying to join, because for you to be able to criticize, you must be able to contribute to the pack. When you're contributing, because always think that we should criticize before, and then it happens. But we forget to know that if you don't contribute to it happening, you don't have the mouth to criticize, because if your $1 or your $1,000 is into it, then you have a right to demand your government to do something for you.
Okay. Yes, sir. CG?
No. So, we're going to the annual message, and we at the LRA want to use this opportunity, to thank the president, for his leadership. And it is his foresight that got us, where we are, to do the work that we're doing. And like I always say, he allows us the chance to operate. In many places, you have a lot of, but what I mean, I can tell you operate freely, and I think it's important, So as he goes to, deliver his message, we want to say to the Liberian people that year on year increases in the revenue is because of, the overall support, that the LRA gets. For instance, we our operating resources, he's being able to ensure that we have the resources to operate.
Okay.
Because you need money to get money, understand? Our people, are protesting and all of that. But at the same time, we are ensuring that there is no global protest, because we can be able to generate the revenue that ensures that the government runs.
Okay.
So thanks, Sobo, and your team also.
Okay. Well, that's the Commissioner General of the Liberia Revenue Authority, Thomas Dona. You also heard the Senior Communication Officer of the LRA, Daniel Ankra. Well, let me thank all of you for taking time off a position, Mr. CG, to appear on this program today. Daniel, thank you also.